honestly, thank you to the people who didn't believe in me. I mean, like a month ago, I won a 500 title, and people said I would stop at that. 2 weeks ago, I won a 1,000 title, and people were saying that was the biggest it was going to get. So 3 weeks later, I'm here with this trophy right now. I've tried my best to carry this with grace, and I've been doing my best. So honestly, to those who thought who were putting water on my fire, you're really adding gas to it. And now I'm really burning so bright right now.
Netflix recently invested $5.8 million in Coco Gauff. The tennis community is also going crazy. A 7-episode documentary series with unrestricted access. The kind of money that makes agents envious and sponsors uneasy. However, this is the topic that no one is discussing. This is no longer about tennis. This is about something much more significant, and it will permanently alter our perception of athletes. Please let me know in the comments before we delve into the specifics. Do you now believe that Coco Gauff is the most marketable athlete under 25? Or is there simply too much excitement too soon? Here, let's be truthful. The first thing that comes to mind when you hear $5.8 million for a documentary series is probably why. We've seen her play tennis, after all. We've seen her triumph. On Instagram, we follow her. I mean, what else is there to know? Incorrect. Thus, utterly incorrect. Because unless they have information that we do not, Netflix does not issue checks with that many zeros. They also understand that Coco Gauff's narrative is more than simply titles and backhands. It's about how a generation's perception of athletics, celebrity, and what it means to be young and under pressure in 2025 has changed. When you break it down, the offer itself is, to be honest, sort of crazy. After observing a 20-year-old tennis player, Netflix execs remarked, "Yes, let's wager close to $6 million that viewers will be interested enough to watch all 7 of her life's episodes." That is a big risk. When you are positive you have struck gold, you make that kind of investment. And it seems that they have. Exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, private family moments, never-before-seen training sessions, and emotional breakdowns that Coco herself certainly wishes had remained secret were all obtained by the streaming behemoth. But isn't that the whole point? You provide them access because you want the millions. Fair trade. Perhaps. Definitely invasive. Profitable? Definitely.
Today was the first time I've ever seen my dad cry. He doesn't want me to tell you all that, but he got caught in 4K. He thinks he's so hard, but it's not. So thank you guys. I mean, you believed in me from the beginning. I've been coming to this tournament. My dad took me to this tournament, sitting right there watching Venus and Serena compete. So it's really incredible to be on this stage.
Let's now discuss episode 1, as here is where Netflix demonstrates their true grasp of narrative. They won't begin with her Grand Slam victory, or Wimbledon 2026. They're going all the way back to the early days, like little Coco playing on public courts with enormous rackets. The kind of video that lets you know that champions aren't born in fancy mize with limitless funding. Sometimes they are born in ordinary neighborhoods to parents who gave their all for an unattainable ideal. According to reports, the documentary series depicts her mom handling schedules like a military operation, her dad working numerous jobs, and tiny Coco sincerely thinking she would be the best one eventually. That isn't 5-year-old arrogance. It is a prophecy. Additionally, Netflix is aware that content is valuable when it comes to streaming subscriptions. This is where things start to get interesting though. And by intriguing, I mean a little awkward. Episode 2 discusses her 15-year-old Wimbledon breakthrough. I take it you remember that.
It's a dream debut for the 15-year-old.
Everyone wanted a piece of Venus Williams' tale after the world witnessed this adolescent defeat her, but Netflix reveals that nobody was aware of this. Coco was on the verge of missing that competition. She was experiencing such severe self-doubt that she wondered if she was prepared. Give that some thought. A 15-year-old's fear nearly prevented the match that altered her entire career. To be honest, that's the most relatable aspect of the entire documentary series. Although these athletes are perceived by us as superhumans, they are merely individuals coping with the same anxieties that we all have, with the exception that millions of people watch them on international television. The documentary series seems to get pretty raw in episode 3. And by raw, I mean that you might want raw tissues close at hand. The topic of this episode is the cost of celebrity, which may seem dramatic until you consider what it truly means for a teenager. Overnight, Coco moved from leading a comparatively ordinary existence to being a worldwide celebrity. People are broken by that kind of whiplash. The incessant travel, the media attention, the social media, and the hatred from those who have never used a tennis racket yet feel equipped to criticize every stroke she makes. According to reports, Netflix features scenes in which young Coco is by herself in hotel rooms, worn out, and wondering if it was all worthwhile. They depict the mental health struggles she kept under wraps because, in a sport where perfection is expected, acknowledging a challenge feels like admitting weakness. There is no doubt that this episode will transform discussions about young sports and mental health. The metamorphosis takes place in episode 4. At this point, Coco transforms from a gifted adolescent into a real threat. Tennis aficionados will become completely engrossed with Netflix's detailed portrayal of her development. They explain how she transformed her forearm from a weakness into an asset. They depict the intense training sessions, tactical modifications, and mental training that made her a formidable opponent. And this is what some people may find annoying. They demonstrate how fanatical, nearly irrational levels of dedication are necessary to become champions. It's not comfortably inspirational. This is what it truly requires, which makes it inspirational. And the majority of us are unwilling to do it that way. Depending on your point of view, that level of candor can be either energizing or demeaning. The winning lap is in episode 5. This literally refers to her Grand Slam championship victory with a cinematic production that most likely cost more than some independent films. Netflix fully committed to the footage. Just before the final, in the locker room, her eyes showed both fear and resolve. The coaches advise in a whisper. The entire game was edited like a thriller. And if you've seen the first 4 episodes, the emotional payoff is different when she triumphs and drops to her knees after that last point. You're not only witnessing an athlete triumph in a competition, you are witnessing the result of years of hardship, uncertainty, pressure, and unwavering faith. It's the best kind of deceptive filmmaking, and it will be flawless. However, Coco's worth to Netflix is made abundantly evident in episode 6. These days, it's more than simply tennis. She is shown in this episode as a cultural leader, a spokesperson for her generation, and someone who uses her platform to support causes greater than prizes. They accompany her to social justice campaigns, school visits, and charitable events. They depict her discussing equality, mental health, and self-belief with a genuine, unscripted style. This is where the strategic genius lies. Netflix is doing more than just chronicling her athletic career. They are contributing to the development of her reputation as a tennis player and worldwide influencer. Compared to simply covering matches, that is a more longer and more lucrative connection. Everything comes together and the future is set up in episode 7. This includes her ascent to the top of the world rankings in 2025, which happened so recently that many viewers will recall seeing it happen in real time. However, Netflix provides context that was previously lacking. They shed light on the reasons behind her late-season domination, the sacrifices she made, the relationships she put on weight, and the completely abandoned normal life. Additionally, Coco sits down for what is characterized as an extremely emotional interview in the episode's closing moments, during which she opens up about everything. She essentially acknowledges that the path has been more difficult than anyone realizes as her voice breaks and she struggles with tears. She's not finished yet, though. Since it's not actually an ending at all, it's the ideal conclusion. Her story is still being written, which nicely sets up the possibility of a second season if this one does well. Astute business, somewhat cynical execution, and incredibly powerful storyline. Let's now answer the obvious question. Does Coco Gauff have a $5.8 million value? Absolutely, from Netflix's point of view. They are not purchasing a documentary about sports. They are purchasing a multi-generational tale about a young black lady who, while remaining sincere and grounded, goes on to become one of the world's most well-known athletes. That tale is popular all across the world. Even people who don't watch tennis are drawn to that story. Advertising cannot purchase the subscriptions, social media interaction, and media attention that story generates. From a business perspective, Netflix most likely got a good deal. Here's what makes this offer truly intriguing, though. It signifies a major change in the way we watch sports media. All we used to do was watch athletes compete. We want everything now. The mental health journey, the family relationships, the training, the setbacks, and the personal challenges. 20 years ago, this kind of access would have been unimaginable. And because the financial and promotional prospects are too great to pass up, sportsmen like Coco are prepared to grant that access. Yes, it's a trade, but everyone engaged gains from it. Netflix acquires interesting material. Viewers have rare insight into what it truly takes to become exceptional, while Coco receives financial compensation and increased international fame. It's also important to consider the timing of this documentary series. 20-year-old Coco already has enough material for 7 episodes. Depending on your perspective, something might be either remarkable or alarming. On the one hand, she has achieved more before reaching legal drinking age than the majority of athletes do over the course of their careers. However, the degree of stress and intensity at such a young age raises concerns about long-term well-being and sustainability. However, since Netflix did not pay for this documentary series, those questions are unlikely to be addressed. They paid for the victorious ascent, the moments of inspiration, the heartfelt triumphs, and the difficult concerns of whether we should expect too much from young athletes too soon. That's a different documentary for a different time. Unquestionably, this documentary series will affect how young athletes view themselves and how others see them. Kids will learn that talent alone is not enough for success after watching Coco's story. They will witness the sacrifices, the struggles, the periods of uncertainty, and the unwavering work ethic. That is worthwhile. However, they will also witness the benefits, the money, the fame, the international recognition, and the opportunity to effect change. And some will choose that the trade-off is worthwhile, while others will recognize that they don't want to be under such pressure. Both answers are legitimate. This agreement has cultural ramifications.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you have watched this far and found the video entertaining.